When the engine sound died that evening, nobody could believe it. James Dean's silver Porsche had been silenced on California's Highway 46. September 30th, 1955, was the last breath of Hollywood's brightest star at only 24 years old. But at that moment, no one knew that much darker secrets lay behind this crash. James Byron. Dean's story began on February 8, 1931, at the Seven Gables apartment building in Marion, Indiana. Little Jimmy was the only child of Winton, a dental technician, and his mother, Mildred. That sweet family warmth we all could experience was still there when they moved to California at age 5. But the truly shocking thing was the news of his mother's death. At 9 years old, when his mother, Mildred, lost her battle to cancer, little Jimmy's world completely collapsed. His father, Winton, realizing he couldn't care for his son, sent him to the Indiana farm to live with Aunt Hortense and Uncle Marcus Winslow. This was exactly when James Dean began to die and the legend began to be born. Farm life made Jimmy a tough kid, but it also nurtured his artistic side. He played violin, acted in theater plays, and even tap danced. Wait a minute. Don't miss this detail. At that time, no one knew that this multi-talented child would soon become the name the whole world would be talking about. When he graduated high school in 1949, Jimmy made the biggest decision of his life, returning to California to live with his father and study theater at UCLA. But this decision only increased the coldness between him and his father, because Winton didn't approve of his son's acting dreams. His first professional job was a Pepsi commercial. What you're seeing now is nothing because James Dean's journey to stardom was just beginning. Small television roles, extra work, even wiping tables on buses. He was ready to do any job. In 1951, he moved to New York on James Whitmore's advice. He wanted to try his luck on Broadway stages. During that period, he joined Lee Strasberg's Actors Studio. He was one of the youngest actors accepted into the most prestigious acting school in history. He was training in the same studio with legends like Marlon Brando and Julie Harris. After taking a small role in the Broadway play See the Jaguar, the opportunity that would change his life came. His performance in The Immortalist caught the attention of famous director Elia Kazan. Kazan chose James Dean for the role of Cal Trask in the film adaptation of John Steinbeck's East of Eden. 1955 was the breakthrough year for James Dean. While filming East of Eden, he constantly changed his character interpretation and fought with other actors on set. But the results seen on screen dropped everyone's jaws. The 23-year-old had suddenly become Hollywood's most talked-about name. Before even seeing the premiere of East of Eden, he began filming his second movie, Rebel Without a Cause. This film, directed by Nicholas Ray, would be the role that carved James Dean into history. The Jim Stark character, the red-jacketed, rebellious youth, became the representative of all 1950s youth. His friendship with Natalie Wood and Sal Mineo on the film set deeply affected all three's personal lives. But at that time, no one knew that all three young stars would have tragic endings. You won't believe it, but James Dean was actually a very shy and melancholic young man. Behind the camera, he constantly read books, did photography, and drew pictures. But the media only promoted him with the rebel kid image. This injustice was consuming him from within. During the filming of his third movie, Giant, James Dean discovered his new passion: car racing. When he participated in his first professional race in 1954, he came in first place. This success made him ambitious. He wanted faster cars. On September 23, 1955, he left Warner Brothers studio and went straight to Competition Motors. The moment he saw the silver Porsche 550 Spyder there, he fell in love. He paid $7,000, the price of a house at that time, and bought the car. He named the car Little Bastard. And the story behind this name is very interesting. Some say Warner Brothers president Jack Warner called him Little Bastard, and Dean named his car this to get revenge. Others claim it was the result of a joke between him and stunt driver Bill Hickman. On Friday, September 30th, 1955, at 1:15 p.m., James Dean set out on his final journey, with Porsche mechanic Rolf Wutherick beside him. They were heading to the races in Salinas. Originally, they planned to transport the car on a trailer, but Wutherick suggested Dean drive it to get used to the car. Near Bakersfield at 3:30 p.m., they were caught speeding. Police gave Dean a ticket for going 120 miles per hour, 193 kilometers per h. He didn't know yet that this would be the last ticket of his life. This was exactly when everything changed. At 5:45 p.m., at the intersection of Route 466 and Route 41, 23-year-old California Polytechnic student Donald Turnipseed was trying to make a left turn with his Ford Tudor. James Dean was coming from the opposite direction at 85 miles per hour, 137 kilometers per h. The collision was inevitable. The Ford was thrown 40 feet, 12 meters away. Wutherick was ejected from the vehicle. James Dean died instantly at the steering wheel from a broken neck. When he arrived at Paso Robles War Memorial Hospital at 6:20 p.m., the doctor pronounced him dead. At 24 years old, at the peak of his career, having made only 3 films, a young man had thus become a legend. But the truly surprising thing was the story of his car. The wreckage of Little Bastard was purchased by George Barris. Its parts were installed in different vehicles, and all of them were involved in fatal accidents. Was this coincidence, or was there really a curse? Dr. William Eschrick installed Dean's engine in his own Lotus and crashed during a 1956 race. Dr. Troy McHenry took Dean's transmission and suspension parts and died in his first race. You won't believe it, but even Rolf Wutherick couldn't overcome this trauma. He died in a similar traffic accident in Germany in 1981. James Dean's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was also the end of an era. The voice of rebellious 1950s youth had been silenced. But with the 2 Academy Award nominations he received posthumously, he made history. He was the first actor to receive posthumous nominations. Rebel Without a Cause and Giant were released after his death. Both broke box office records. People flocked to cinemas not just to watch the films, but to see James Dean one last time. Everyone knew James Dean as the rebel kid, but no one knew the real Jimmy. That sensitive young man who read books, loved art, and sought paternal love. Behind that tough image in front of cameras was a person who had fears that we all could experience. Do you know what his greatest fear was? Not being loved. He had lost his mother at 9. His relationship with his father was broken. He was looking for real love in Hollywood's fake world. Maybe that's why he loved speed. Adrenaline made him feel real. Even today, when we talk about James Dean, we only discuss his rebel kid image. But he was also one of the pioneers of method acting. He was an artist who adapted what he learned from Lee Strasberg to his own style, putting his soul into every role. The biggest irony is this. James Dean surpassed actors with decades-long careers with just 3 films shot in 1 year. Because he didn't just act, he lived. He put himself out there in every scene. Alec Guinness's words, spoken a week before his death, are still chilling. Don't get in that car, or you'll be found dead in it within this week. It came out like a prophecy. Did Guinness really sense something? James Dean's story isn't just a Hollywood tragedy. It's a deep lesson about the price of living fast. The fire of youth, the the confidence that success brings, the feeling of immortality. We see all of this in his life. His struggle continues today. Every young actor, every speed enthusiast, every person who wants to be understood encounters similar emotions that James Dean experienced. These pressures have become even more complex in the social media age. Even 70 years later, James Dean's identity is being rediscovered by each new generation. Because he wasn't just an actor, he was the symbol of rebellion, youth, and dreams. The young man who died at 24 remained eternally 24. The biggest mystery is this: was James Dean really too perfect to exist? Maybe fate didn't want him to keep him in this world too long. Maybe some people are like meteors, they shine bright and burn out quickly.